Hi, class. I'm Doug Brown, your instructor for this term for legal ethics. Uh, I wanted to just take a moment and introduce myself as well as have a little discussion about our first assignment. It's our first week. I'm excited about each of you being here in the course. I'm happy that you've made the decision to take this course, and I hope that you find that you'll learn a great deal from it and that will be rewarding. No matter what your career goals may be, where you are today, if you're attempting to gain a new career, get into a new area, or just get promoted, which is absolutely important, I think this course will benefit each of you as you explore some of the ethics. Now, if you're not in the criminal justice field, in justice studies, hoping to work in law enforcement or corrections or homeland security, it doesn't matter what your degree field may be. I believe that you can get something out of this course and use it in the area the discipline that you're interested in, because we can all use a little bit of ethics and learn something about ethics as we move forward. At some period of time, you're going to be challenged to make some choices there individually and as a group, and I think the course will hopefully help you make those good choices, learn about some of the things that you should and should not do. The thing about ethics in this field is some of those small things that we don't consider to be such a big issue can really get us in trouble. For instance, in our first case here in our discussion and in our first assignment, we see where a police officer is offered money to donate to a charity for the cause, whatever that cause may be, whether it's a policeman's fund or the fraternal order of police, or shop with the cop, or whatever the money could be used for. In this case, the police officer has two choices that they can make, and that is they can accept the money and use that money for whatever purpose they deem necessary, whether they decide to keep the money or they give it to the program that the department is sponsoring or one of their associations. Now, there's not really anything inherently wrong with that if the money gets where it needs to be. But what can happen is this could be a test. This could be a situation where the citizen really had the underlying goal of testing the law enforcement officer to see if the money was really going to get where it was supposed to be or not, or if the police officer was going to pocket the money. Now, there's other things that could be said in this particular situation and done, but the thing that we see here is we have choices to make. Now, you get to make the decision about whether or not you think the police officer should take the money and give it to a charity, or if the police officer should deny the money, thank the person for their time, and then suggest that they actually take that money, mail the money, drop it off, whatever, to a charity. So you get to make a decision. This is a case where if the police officer accepted the money, even if it went to the charity, the citizen could come back and say, hey, I gave this officer money, they accepted the money, and I'm not sure what they did with it. And it could cause problems for the officer, even if they did the right thing by giving the money to the organization that they stated they were going to do it. Personally, in my career working in public safety, I have seen situations where not only law enforcement officers, but firefighters and EMTs and coroners and others have been in a situation where money's disappeared or an item has disappeared, and they've been accused of taking that item, although that's not always the case. The accusation that happened creates havoc for them in their career, not only because of the accusation, but now they have to take a time away from whatever their job is and deal with this particular situation. Now, for me, I don't like drama. Unfortunately, in public safety, we get that drama sometimes, not only from the people we work with or work for, but sometimes from citizens. And so in order to do that, I think you should, in my opinion, find every way you can to avoid these type of situations, keep them from occurring. Although you may be found not guilty, if you will, of using the money or a watch or whatever for unlawful purposes or for your own purposes, for that matter. The deal is you have to go through this whole investigative process, which can only be a black mark on your career, in your record, but it also takes you away from your normal duties. Your mind wanders and you're constantly focusing on that situation. So the best thing to do is just not do it. Just don't do it at all. If there's any level of temptation whatsoever. Now, sometimes these situations go a way that we don't want them to. I don't think it happens very often. I think a vast majority of us working in public safety are honest people, and we do the right thing. We choose to do the right thing. But sometimes we see that that's not always the case. I mean, you can clearly pick up the paper or get on the internet and see where someone has accepted a gift, where it's a government leader or someone working in public safety accepted a gift, or they took a watch and said it was a Timex when it was really a Rolex, or whatever. And so we need to try to find ways to avoid those type of situations. And that's what we see here in this scenario that we have this week. So we have to make a choice about do we accept the gift or not. So we'll have an opportunity this week to explain the relationships between morality and ethics, kind of getting down to the very basics of what we're discussing here. We will analyze some ethical dilemmas, not just one, but several. Hopefully you will bring up others that you're familiar with in your discussion. And then we'll discuss the law enforcement oath of honor. Now, everyone uses, all departments don't have an oath of honor. There's just kind of an unwritten rule that we're going to do the right thing at the right time, in the right way. But the law enforcement oath of honor certainly could serve and should serve as a real good basis for what we should be and should not be doing in our careers. We have several things to talk about this time. Again, we're faced with those ethical and moral dilemmas each day in our respective positions. We have to handle those dilemmas in a correct way, as I just mentioned. Otherwise, it could become a career-ending decision. And again, I think the law enforcement oath of honor really serves as that in that particular case. Now, we have some real good reading here, I think. There's some good sources that you can take a look at. Some of the references are provided for you. I'd encourage you to take a look at those studies and just make some decisions for yourself about what's right and what's wrong. We see that when we go back to ethics, it can really be defined as a study of what constitutes the good and the bad, and it derives from the root word ethos, which really is defined as having a good spirit or good character, as we define it in modern times. Okay, so really it's about making those just good decisions in doing the right thing, and we have to have some moral courage. That courage is important for us sometimes to be able to act and make those right decisions. You really have to be morally courageous, if you will, because the decisions we make are not always the popular decisions, for example. Okay, so I'd encourage you to take a look at why we have this need for ethics and morality in criminal justice. Our profession has changed. Society really counts on law enforcement and public safety to make the right decisions and to protect them. We've seen recently that our society is changing. There's not the trust is not there in some cases that we've had in the past. Growing up, I basically was taught to trust law enforcement. They were our Cape Crusaders, if you will. Today we don't see that. We see everyone attacking law enforcement officers, even though they're just getting gas, fuel in their vehicle. There's just not that trust anymore. Now we could have a discussion about why that's occurred, and do that all day long outside of our first discussion here. I certainly don't think it's warranted to be attacking the law enforcement officers. They really are, in my opinion, are Cape Crusaders. If you dial 911 or need help, we're the ones that come. The law enforcement agencies provide that service to protect the common good. So we have some opportunities to take a look at that in our first assignment. So what are we going to be doing aside from taking a look and reading about ethics and the backgrounds about ethics, where it derives from, and morality and that sort of thing? We're going to read the importance of ethics in criminal justice. We'll have a little better understanding, hopefully, of why ethics must be in place, why we must have some ethics, and we must have good morality. If you apply for a job in law enforcement or in public safety, the thing that they want to see is that you have some good basic understanding of morality and criminal justice, or morality, I should say, and ethics, and making the right decisions before they promote you or before they hire you. You're the guy that's out there, the female that's out there. You're the officer, and you're providing this service, and I want to make sure that individually and holistically you can provide this service and make good decisions. So we have some good articles, library article here, Rethinking Ethics in Law Enforcement, and then understanding what the law enforcement oath is. So our assignment this week, we'll take a look at this reading chapter 1 of our book. We not only have a discussion, but we also have a blog, and then I've included in this, as the author of this course, one of the first things I want you to do is think about that final project. I'd like for you to start thinking about the final project today, so that you don't wait till the end and try to do it all at one time. It's important to start trying to work on your final project today. So please take a look at that. So now that we've talked a little bit about our assignment, a little bit about ethics and morality, let's talk a little bit about what's expected. First, I hope that you take time to join us for our live session that's coming up. That should be posted in the announcements. Please take time to do that. We'll discuss many of the things we do on this video. So, pardon me. When you complete the discussion assignment, I'd like for you to offer an extended discussion. Please don't just do 1 or 2 sentences. Please offer a good background on what you're doing. Take time to read the material. At least scan it. If you're real busy, I understand we have to pay bills and take care of children, that sort of thing. But take time to look over the material and then offer a real long, or an extended, deep, and in-depth discussion. We don't have a word count, so it's not about getting the words in. It's about making your statement based on the grading rubric, which I'd like for you to use in all your grades. Take a look at that grading rubric and follow that grade. Sorry about that. Having to work here too. But take a look at that grading rubric and follow that exactly. Look at the instructions and offer an extended, detailed comment on what you feel that is important here with regard to our first assignment, which is the oath of office and accepting money. Now, APA, if you're not familiar with APA, that is a requirement. I'd like to see you put those citations and references in everything that you do, whether it's a discussion or a blog or a written paper or a journal assignment. I will help you along with that. I've also included some links for you. I'd encourage you to use the Writing Center in the library. We have some good resources there for you to be able to use to learn more about APA. Again, I don't expect you to know it on the first day. We'll work together. I'll give you some tips. Try to use those tips, and we'll just work through this. I'm more interested in what you have to say and how you say it than anything else. Please make sure that you're responding to at least 2 of your fellow students there. Reply twice to those students if you don't mind, and include some real good information in those replies as well. Include those citations. Try to have some real good in-depth discussion. If you see someone in the discussion board that's no one's replying to, please take time to reply to them and encourage them, lift them up. The thing that I like to do in my classes is I like for us to work as a team. Okay, we're not an island. We're working together. We're doing this as a team, and we're all going to work together, if you don't mind, to lift each other up. So that we have a good term, we learn the material, and we all complete the term successfully. If you use those tips that I've provided, I think you'll find that you'll finish the class with an 8. And just use those tips and work hard, and we'll work together to make it happen. Again, I'm rambling a bit, but I want you to know this is going to be a real good term. I appreciate you stopping by and taking time to watch the video or listen to it as a podcast. Try to make the live session, look over those tips, read the material. The thing is, I'm here for you 24/7, 365. If you ever have any questions or need help, please don't be afraid to ask, even if it's a very small question. I will do everything that I possibly can to help you, not only to teach you about our subject matter, but to help you get where you need to be. Thanks again for taking time to stop by. Appreciate you taking your time. This will be a good session, and I hope you enjoy the class. Thank you very much.